The florist left a single rose on a stranger's grave every week, unaware it was the Mafia boss's dead wife. What she didn't know was that her quiet act of kindness was being watched, and it was about to change 3 lives forever. The alarm clock screamed at 5:30 a.m., its shrill beeping cutting through the silence of Claire Morgan's studio apartment like a knife through paper. She didn't need it, really. She'd been awake for the past 20 minutes, staring at the water-stained ceiling, counting the cracks she'd memorized over the past 3 years. 14 major ones. 32 smaller fractures spreading like veins across yellowed plaster. Her hand shot out from beneath the thin comforter, silencing the alarm before the neighbor started pounding on the wall again. The November cold had already seeped through the single-pane window, turning her breath into small clouds. The radiator clanked uselessly in the corner, a metal monument to broken promises from a landlord who never returned calls. Claire sat up slowly, her joints protesting. 26 years old, and she already felt ancient. The apartment was exactly 280 square feet of her entire world. Kitchen, bedroom, and living room all occupying the same cramped space. The bathroom door didn't close all the way. The refrigerator hummed louder than it cooled, but it was hers. Or rather, it was what she could afford on a florist's salary in Chicago's Bridgeport neighborhood. She shuffled to the bathroom, avoiding her reflection in the mirror above the sink. She didn't need to see the dark circles under her green eyes, or the way her cheekbones had become more prominent over the past year. Eating 2 meals a day instead of 3 did that. The tap sputtered before releasing a stream of rust-tinged water that eventually ran clear. By 6 o'clock, Claire was dressed in her usual uniform. Worn jeans with a patch on the right knee, a faded green sweater that had belonged to her mother, and canvas sneakers that had lost their original white color years ago. She pulled her wavy brown hair into a loose ponytail, grabbed her backpack, and checked her phone one last time. Bank balance, $127.34. Rent due in 8 days, $850. The math didn't work. It never did anymore. But she'd worry about that later. Wednesday mornings were different. Wednesday mornings were hers. The bus stop was 3 blocks away, and Claire walked with her hands shoved deep into her jacket pockets. The streets were still dark, illuminated only by flickering streetlights that the city never bothered to fix. A few early shift workers shuffled past, their faces blank with exhaustion. Nobody made eye contact. That was the unspoken rule of Chicago mornings. The number 49 bus arrived 6 minutes late, as always. Claire climbed aboard, tapped her transit card that had exactly 4 rides left on it, and found a seat near the back. The bus smelled like old coffee and wet newspapers. She pressed her forehead against the cold window and watched the city blur past. Oakwood Memorial Cemetery sat on the north edge of town, surrounded by wrought iron fencing and oak trees that had witnessed a century of grief. Claire got off at the corner of Ashland and Memorial Drive, the only passenger to disembark in the pre-dawn darkness. The cemetery gates were always open. Death didn't keep business hours. Her breath misted in the frigid air as she walked the familiar path, left at the angel statue with the missing wing, right at the mausoleum with the ivy-covered walls, straight past the rows of weathered headstones that leaned like crooked teeth. She'd made this walk every Wednesday morning for the past 2 years. Every single week, without fail. The grave was in the newer section, where the grass was better maintained and the stones still held their polish. Claire's steps slowed as she approached, her heart doing that familiar twist it always did when she saw it. Victoria Moretti, 1990-2023. Beloved wife and mother. The headstone was simple but expensive. Black granite, perfectly carved, with fresh earth still slightly raised over the plot. Flowers were rarely here. In 2 years, Claire had seen maybe 3 other bouquets, and those had been on what she assumed was the anniversary of death or a birthday. The rest of the time, the grave sat alone, forgotten, neglected. That's what had broken Claire's heart that first morning she'd noticed it. Her own mother had died 3 years ago, buried in a cemetery 2 states away that Claire couldn't afford to visit. She knew what it felt like to leave someone alone in the ground, to let silence replace the sound of your voice. So she'd started visiting this stranger's grave instead. Claire knelt on the cold ground, ignoring the way the moisture immediately soaked through her jeans. From her backpack, She pulled out a single white rose. It was slightly imperfect, one petal bent at an odd angle, a few brown spots near the stem. Mrs. Huang, her boss at Petal and Stem, let her take the flowers that couldn't be sold. The damaged ones. The forgotten ones. "Good morning, Victoria," Claire whispered, her voice barely audible in the empty cemetery. She always spoke aloud. It felt wrong to visit in silence. "I brought your flower. It's a little beat up this week. Had a rough shipment. But I thought you wouldn't mind." She placed the rose carefully at the base of the headstone, adjusting it so it wouldn't blow away in the wind. Her fingers were already numb from the cold. "Work's been okay. Mrs. Huang says we might have to close the shop in 3 months. Not enough business. Everyone orders online now." Claire sat back on her heels, wrapping her arms around herself. "I don't know what I'll do if that happens. There aren't a lot of jobs for people who only know flowers." A car engine hummed somewhere in the distance, but Claire didn't turn around. People came to cemeteries early sometimes. She wasn't the only one who found comfort in visiting the dead before the living world woke up. "I miss my mom," Claire continued, her throat tightening. "It's been 3 years, and some days it feels like 3 minutes. Other days it feels like 3 decades. Does that make sense? I keep thinking I should be over it by now. That's what everyone expects. But grief doesn't have an expiration date, does it?" The wind picked up, rattling through the bare branches of the oak trees. Claire shivered. "I wish I knew your story, Victoria." "How old were you?" 33. "That's so young. Too young. Did you have kids?" "The stone says mother. I hope they're okay. I hope someone's taking care of them. I hope they're not as alone as I am." She stood slowly, her knees protesting. The sky was starting to lighten, shifting from black to deep purple. She had 40 minutes to get to Petal and Stem before opening. "I'll see you next week," Claire promised, brushing off her jeans. "Same time. I won't forget." She never noticed the black SUV parked at the cemetery's edge, windows tinted dark. She never saw the camera lens pointing in her direction, recording every movement. She never realized that for the past 4 weeks, someone else had been watching her visits. Someone who had spent 2 years wondering why this grave was always the only one with a fresh white rose every Wednesday morning. Someone who was about to enter her life and turn everything upside down. Claire pulled her jacket tighter and walked back toward the bus stop, completely unaware that her quiet ritual had been noticed, that she'd been investigated, that in exactly 7 days, her Wednesday morning routine would be interrupted by a 6-year-old girl who desperately needed what only Claire could offer: kindness without expectation, presence without judgment, a voice that spoke to the dead because the silence was too heavy to bear alone. The number 49 bus arrived right on schedule this time. Claire climbed aboard and headed toward another day at Petal and Stem, where she'd arrange bouquets for strangers, smile at customers who barely saw her, and count the hours until she could afford to eat dinner. Her life was small, manageable, predictable. It wouldn't stay that way much longer. 7 days passed like they always did. Monday blurred into Tuesday. Tuesday crawled into Wednesday. Claire's routine never changed. Wake at 5:30, dress in the dark, skip breakfast because her stomach had learned not to expect it. Check bank balance, $104 now, and try not to panic about rent due in 24 hours. But Wednesday morning was different. The November sky was darker than usual, thick clouds blocking even the hint of sunrise. Rain threatened but hadn't fallen yet, the air heavy with moisture that clung to everything. Claire's breath fogged as she stepped off the number 49 bus at 6:38 a.m., and 2 minutes earlier than normal. The driver had actually been on time for once. Oakwood Memorial Cemetery looked different in the pre-storm darkness. The oak trees swayed violently, their bare branches scraping against each other like skeletal fingers. The wrought iron gates creaked on their hinges. Claire pulled her jacket tighter and walked the familiar path, her footsteps crunching on gravel, left at the angel statue, right at the mausoleum, straight past the crooked rose. She had the white rose in her backpack, wrapped in damp newspaper. This one was actually decent, only a single torn petal. Mrs. Huang had smiled when she'd set it aside yesterday afternoon. Claire rounded the corner past a marble monument topped with a weeping cherub and stopped cold. Someone was at Victoria's grave. a child. The little girl couldn't have been more than 6 years old, kneeling on the cold ground in front of the black granite headstone. She wore a pale blue dress far too thin for the weather, no jacket, no coat. Her blonde hair hung in loose waves down her back, tangled by the wind. In her arms, she clutched a stuffed rabbit that had seen better days, its fur matted and one ear hanging by threads. The girl was shaking. Whether from cold or crying, Claire couldn't tell. Probably both. Claire stopped about 15 feet away, uncertain. She'd never encountered anyone else here at this hour. The child hadn't noticed her yet, too focused on the headstone, her small shoulders trembling. Then Claire heard it, a soft, broken sound. Not quite crying, more like the sound someone makes when they've cried so much there's nothing left. That sound broke something in Claire's chest. She took a step forward. Her shoes scraped on gravel, and the girl's head snapped up, eyes wide. Blue eyes. The brightest blue Claire had ever seen, like winter sky after snow. Red-rimmed and swollen. Claire raised her hand slowly. "Hey," she said softly. "Are you okay?" The girl didn't answer, just stared, clutching the rabbit tighter. Claire knelt down slowly, about 10 feet away, making herself smaller. "My name's Claire. I come here every Wednesday. I bring flowers for..." She gestured toward the headstone. "Is this your mom?" The girl's lower lip trembled. She nodded once, a tiny movement. Claire's throat tightened. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." She reached into her backpack and pulled out the white rose. "I bring one of these every week, for her, because nobody should be alone." The girl's eyes fixed on the rose, something like recognition flickering across her face. "You're freezing," Claire said, noticing the violent shivering. Without thinking, she moved closer and shrugged off her jacket. "Here, take this." The girl flinched but didn't pull away as Claire draped the jacket over her shoulders. It hung past her knees like a blanket. Up close, Claire could see the bluish tint to her lips. How long had she been out here? Claire sat down on the cold ground beside her, ignoring the moisture soaking through her jeans. She placed the white rose gently at the base of the headstone. "I lost my mom, too," Claire said quietly. 3 years ago. It doesn't get easier, but it gets different. The hurt changes shape. She wasn't sure why she was saying this to a 6-year-old, but the words came anyway. "I can't visit her grave. It's too far away. So I started coming here instead. I hope that's okay." The girl looked at Claire directly, really looked at her. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched the white rose. Her fingers traced the petals with a gentleness that made Claire's eyes sting. "Do you want to sit here for a bit?" Claire asked. "I don't have to be at work for another hour. We could just sit." "If you want." The girl nodded and shifted slightly closer to Claire. Not quite touching, but close enough. They sat in silence for maybe 5 minutes. The wind howled. The clouds darkened. Claire's teeth started to chatter, but she didn't move. This child needed someone to just be present. The girl pointed to the headstone, then to herself, then to the rose. "Thank you." "You're welcome," Claire whispered. "I'll keep bringing them. Every Wednesday. I promise." The girl's lips moved, forming words, but no sound came out. She tried again, her face scrunching with effort. But nothing. A tear rolled down her cheek and she wiped it away angrily. "It's okay," Claire said gently. "You don't have to talk. Sometimes there aren't words anyway." A car door slammed somewhere behind them, sharp and sudden. The girl's head whipped around, eyes wide with panic. Heavy footsteps crunched on gravel. A man's voice called out, tight with tension. "Miss Lily!" The girl scrambled to her feet, Claire's jacket falling. She grabbed it and tried to hand it back, but Claire shook her head. "Keep it. Miss Lily!" The voice was closer now. A man in a black suit rushed toward them, massive, easily 6'4". His face showed worry and fear. He reached them and immediately positioned himself between Claire and the girl. His hand moved to his hip, to something weapon-shaped under his jacket. "Step back," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "Now." Claire raised her hands, heart hammering. "I wasn't. She was alone and cold. I gave her my jacket." The man's eyes flicked to Lily wearing Claire's jacket. then to the white rose, then back to Claire. "Miss Lily?" he said. "Are you hurt?" Lily shook her head. "Did this woman hurt you?" Another head shake. He pulled out a radio. "I found her. Northeast quadrant. She's safe. And there's a civilian." The radio crackled. "Bring them both. Now." Claire's blood turned to ice. "I was just leaving." "You are now involved," the man said. "Mr. Moretti wants to speak with you." "Who's Mr. Moretti?" "The man whose wife you've been visiting for 2 years. The man whose daughter you just helped." 3 black SUVs appeared at the gates, engines rumbling. They surrounded the area in seconds. Doors opened. More men in suits emerged, all with the same dangerous alertness. From the center vehicle, someone else stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit. Even from a distance, Claire could feel the weight of his presence. He walked toward them with measured steps, not running, completely controlled. Lily saw him and ran. She crashed into his arms. He caught her, lifted her, held her against his chest like she was everything. His eyes, gray as storm clouds, locked onto Claire over Lily's blonde head. And Claire knew her small, predictable life had just ended. Vincent Moretti started walking toward her, his daughter in his arms. Claire couldn't move, could barely breathe. "Mr. Marcus," Vincent said softly, "please escort the young woman to my vehicle. We need to have a conversation." Marcus turned to Claire. "Come on. He just wants to talk." Claire's legs felt like water. But she walked. Because what else could she do? She'd stumbled into something far bigger than flower deliveries. Into a world where children had bodyguards and questions came with escorts. Into Vincent Moretti's life. And there was no walking back out. The interior of the SUV smelled like expensive leather and something else Claire couldn't identify. Power, maybe. Or money. She sat in the back seat, Marcus beside her. His presence a wall of silent intimidation. Lily and Vincent were in the vehicle ahead. Claire's hands trembled. She pressed them together, but it didn't work. Her mind raced through every true crime podcast she'd ever listened to. This was how people disappeared. "Where are we going?" she asked. Marcus didn't look at her. Somewhere private. They headed downtown. Buildings grew taller, streets cleaner. After 15 minutes, the convoy turned into an underground parking garage beneath a glass tower. They took a private elevator that required a key card and fingerprint scan. Claire's ears popped twice. Her heart hammered. The elevator opened into a penthouse office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city. Minimalist furniture, dark wood, a conference table that could seat 20. Leather chairs around a glass coffee table. Vincent Moretti stood at the windows, Lily in his arms. He spoke to her softly. The little girl still wore Claire's jacket. Even from across the room, Claire could see how tightly he held her. Marcus guided Claire to a leather chair. "Sit. Don't move." She sat. For a full minute, nobody spoke. Finally, Vincent turned. He walked toward a door, carrying Lily. A woman appeared, older, kind-faced, wearing a nanny's uniform. She took Lily gently. Lily clutched the rabbit, but went without protest, her blue eyes tracking Claire. The door closed. Vincent stood there, his back to Claire, shoulders tight. When he turned around, Claire saw his face clearly. He was maybe 38. Black hair with silver at the temples. Sharp angles and controlled expressions. But his eyes held something raw, something that looked like devastation. He sat across from her, not behind a desk, just across the coffee table. "Miss Morgan," he said. His voice was deep, controlled. "You're not in danger. You're not being held. The door isn't locked. You can leave whenever you choose." Claire's throat was too dry to speak. She nodded. "But I would appreciate if you stayed." Vincent leaned back slightly. "I have questions. You deserve answers." "I don't know what happened," Claire managed. "I was just bringing flowers like I do every week, and your daughter was there and she was cold." "I know." Vincent held up one hand. "I've watched you do it. Every Wednesday morning for 2 years. 6:45 a.m. A single white rose. You stay approximately 7 minutes. You speak to a grave of a woman you never knew." The blood drained from Claire's face. "You've been watching me?" "I've been watching everyone who approaches my wife's grave." It's protocol. Anyone who shows interest in my family gets investigated. He pulled out a tablet and set it down. Surveillance photos. Claire at the cemetery. From multiple angles. Multiple dates. I know your name is Claire Elizabeth Morgan. 26 years old. Work at Petal and Stem. Mother died 3 years ago from cancer. No other family. 3 weeks behind on rent. Claire felt sick. You investigated me. Thoroughly. I needed to know if you were a threat. If this was some setup by a rival family. I was planting flowers, Claire said, anger cutting through fear. Because that grave was empty and it made me sad and I couldn't visit my own mother, so I visited yours, and I'm sorry if that was wrong. Something flickered across Vincent's face. I know. Your background came back clean. No criminal record. No suspicious associations. You're exactly what you appear to be. A florist who lost her mother and started an act of kindness. Then why am I here? Vincent was quiet. When he spoke again, his voice was softer. Because my daughter touched you. She let you put a jacket on her. She sat with you. And she hasn't let anyone except me touch her in 2 years. The anger drained from Claire. What happened to her? She watched her mother die. Vincent's jaw clenched. Ambush. 2 years ago. Lily was in the car. She saw everything. Hasn't spoken since. Claire's hand went to her mouth. Oh God. Selective mutism. Trauma-induced. I've hired the best child psychologists in the country. Specialists from Switzerland, Japan, England. None can reach her. She won't speak, won't engage, won't connect. Vincent leaned forward. Until this morning. Until you. I didn't do anything special, Claire whispered. I just sat with her. You showed her kindness without knowing who she was. Without wanting anything in return. Vincent's gray eyes locked onto hers. Do you know how rare that is in my world? Claire shook her head. Everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. Trust is transactional. Vincent stood, walked to the windows. You've been honoring my wife's memory for 2 years, without knowing anything about her. About me. You asked for nothing. Expected nothing. They were damaged flowers, Claire said quietly. Mrs. Huang lets me take them. They would have been thrown away. Vincent turned. Something like a smile touched his lips. My wife loved damaged things. Said they had more character. Rain started. Drops spattering against the windows. Why am I really here? Claire asked. Vincent sat down again. Looked at her with intensity. Because I want to hire you. To do what? To spend time with Lily. Not as a therapist. Not as a caretaker. Just as someone she feels safe with. His voice dropped. I'm desperate, Miss Morgan. I will do anything to help my daughter heal. And for reasons I don't understand, she responded to you. I'm not qualified. I don't need qualified. I need genuine. Vincent leaned back. 2 hours, twice a week. Come to our home, bring flowers, talk to her, sit with her. $5,000 a week. Claire's lungs forgot how to work. 5,000. Plus coverage of your rent and any outstanding debts. Plus security detail because anyone associated with my family becomes a target. Vincent said it matter-of-factly. You'll be vetted, monitored, protected. Your life will change. But you'll be safe, compensated, and you'll potentially help a 6-year-old girl who hasn't had a reason to hope in 2 years. Claire stared at him. At this man who commanded armed security, who investigated florists and monitored graveyards. This man who was also a father holding on by a thread. What if I say no? She asked. Then Marcus drives you home. You go back to your life. We never contact you again. Vincent's expression remained neutral, but Lily watched you leave the cemetery in tears. She cried in the car all the way here because she thought you were scared of her. The words hit Claire like a blow. Vincent stood. I'll give you time to think. Water in the fridge, bathroom through that door. Take as long as you need. This is your choice, Miss Morgan. He walked toward the door, then paused. My wife's name was Victoria. She was 33 when she died. She loved lilies and white roses. She read to children at the library every Saturday. She made me believe I could be more than what I was raised to be. His voice cracked slightly. Thank you for not letting her grave stay empty. He was gone. The door closing softly. Claire sat alone in the penthouse office. Rain streaking down the windows. Her mind spinning. $5,000 a week. Or a 6-year-old girl with blue eyes and a broken voice. Really, there was no choice at all. Claire stood at the window, watching rain stream down glass that probably cost more than her entire apartment. 20 minutes had passed since Vincent left. 20 minutes of her brain screaming run while her heart whispered, stay. $5,000 a week. That was rent paid 6 months in advance. That was her mother's medical debt cleared. That was breathing room she'd forgotten existed. But it was also a world where 6-year-olds needed bodyguards. The door opened. Claire turned. Lily walked in, the nanny close behind. The little girl still wore Claire's jacket, still clutched the worn rabbit. Her blue eyes found Claire immediately. She insisted. The nanny said apologetically. She hasn't eaten, hasn't rested, just keeps signing for the flower lady. Claire's throat tightened. I'm still here, sweetheart. Lily's face transformed. Fear melted into relief. She crossed the room and took Claire's hand. Her small fingers were warm, her grip tentative. When Claire squeezed gently back, Lily's shoulders dropped. She wants you to stay, the nanny said softly. I've worked with this family for 8 years. I've never seen her reach for anyone like this. Claire knelt down, eye level with Lily. Do you want me to stay? To visit you sometimes? Lily nodded vigorously. Her free hand moved to her chest, then out toward Claire. Please, then I'll stay, Claire whispered. I promise. Lily launched herself forward, wrapping small arms around Claire's neck. The hug was tight, desperate. Claire's eyes burned. She hugged back, feeling the little girl's heartbeat. Vincent's voice came from behind them. Thank you, Miss Morgan. Claire looked up, still holding Lily. Vincent stood in the doorway, Marcus beside him. His expression was controlled, but his eyes were red-rimmed. I'll do it, Claire said, standing. Lily didn't let go of her hand. But I have conditions. Vincent raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. First, I keep my job at the flower shop. Mrs. Huang needs me, and I need something normal. Claire's voice was steadier than she felt. Second, I'm not lying about where the money comes from. I'll tell her I'm doing childcare work. Agreed. Third, no one follows me except when I'm coming here or leaving. The rest of my life stays private. Claire's fingers tightened around Lily's hand. And fourth, if I ever think this is hurting Lily instead of helping her, I walk away. No matter how much you're paying me. Vincent studied her. Then he smiled. Small, but genuine. You're braver than you look, Miss Morgan. I'm terrified, Claire admitted. But she needs help, and apparently I can give it. Brave, Marcus said. Idiots don't set boundaries with Mr. Moretti. Vincent turned back to Claire. All 4 conditions accepted. Marcus will have contracts drawn up. You'll be listed as a family companion and tutor. Wait, really? I don't need complications. This benefits everyone. Vincent walked closer, keeping respectful distance. You'll come Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to noon. Marcus will pick you up and return you after. And your rent and debts? Marcus pulled out his phone. I'll need account numbers. Claire gave the information, trying not to think about how quickly everything was being rearranged. Done, Marcus said. Rent paid through next June. Medical debt cleared. Adding $1,500 to your checking account. The world tilted. Just like that? Just like that, Vincent confirmed. And this arrangement also protects you. Anyone looking to hurt my family will now consider you connected to us. The reality crashed over Claire. She was entering a world where she needed protection. I need you to understand something, Vincent continued. The people who killed Victoria would not hesitate to hurt you if they thought it would hurt me. You deserve to know the risks. Lily tugged on Claire's hand, her face going pale, breathing faster, remembering. Hey, Claire said immediately, kneeling. You're safe. Right now, you're completely safe. Can you feel my hand? Lily nodded, gripping tighter. That's real. That's now. Claire followed her instincts. That rabbit you're holding. What's their name? Lily looked down. Her lips moved without sound. Can you show me with your hands? Lily held up the rabbit, pointed to her chest. She made a gesture about opening hands near her heart. I don't know sign language, Claire admitted. But I can learn. Would you teach me? Lily's eyes widened. She looked at her father. Vincent's voice was rough. Her name is Hope. Victoria gave it to her the day she was born. Hope, Claire repeated. That's beautiful. And perfect. Lily nodded slowly. Then she made a gesture. 2 fingers tapping her forehead, then extending outward. That means, remember, Vincent translated. She's saying she'll remember you. I'll remember you too, Lily. Claire stood. And I'll bring flowers. What's your favorite kind besides lilies? Lily thought, then gestured a circle, layering imaginary petals. Roses? Claire guessed. Lily shook her head. She tried again, making her hands bloom outward. Peonies, the nanny said. She loves peonies. Peonies it is, Claire promised. Lily smiled. Small, uncertain, but there. Vincent's expression did something complicated. Marcus will drive you home now. Unless you have questions? Claire had thousands. But the questions could wait. Just one, Claire said. What should I call you? Vincent is fine. He paused. And may I call you Claire? Yes. Then we have an agreement, Claire. Vincent extended his hand. Claire shook it. His grip was firm, warm, but she felt the slight tremor. Trusting a stranger with his daughter. Thank you, he said quietly, for seeing her instead of what surrounds her. I only see her, Claire said honestly. Vincent's smile was sad. Victoria would have liked you. She always said the best people notice the forgotten things. Like graves without flowers. Exactly. Marcus gestured toward the elevator. Ready when you are. Claire looked down at Lily. I'll see you Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. sharp, with peonies. Lily nodded enthusiastically, releasing Claire's hand. She waved, clutching Hope. The elevator ride down was silent. The drive back to Bridgeport was longer, traffic heavy. Claire watched her city transform. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Marcus. Save this contact. Call immediately if you feel unsafe. Day or night. Another buzz. 1,500 deposited. Rent paid. Medical accounts 0 balance. M. Claire typed. Thank you. Response. Thank Lily. She hasn't smiled in 700 days. Today makes 701. 700 days. Nearly 2 years without smiling. And somehow she'd changed that. The SUV pulled up to her building. Marcus handed her a card. My direct number. Security starts tomorrow. That's terrifying and comforting. That's the job. Marcus almost smiled. You did good today. Claire climbed out and watched the SUV disappear. She climbed 4 flights, unlocked 3 locks, stepped into her apartment. Except now it wasn't poverty. Now it was just small. She checked her phone. $1,547. She sat on her couch and cried. For relief, for terror. For a little girl who'd lost her voice. For a man trying to save his daughter. For Victoria, who'd died too young. And for herself, the florist who'd wanted to do one kind thing and had changed her entire life. Tuesday was 3 days away. Tuesday morning arrived faster than Claire expected. She'd spent the weekend reading about selective mutism and practicing sign language basics. Her fingers cramped from practicing the alphabet. At 9:45 a.m., Marcus texted, downstairs in 5. Claire grabbed the bouquet. 3 massive pink peonies, their petals so full they looked ready to burst. Mrs. Huang had raised an eyebrow but simply squeezed Claire's hand. You look lighter. The black SUV waited. Marcus held the door. Morning. Nice flowers. Lily's favorite. Claire climbed in, suddenly nervous. What if last week had been a fluke? She's been talking about you, Marcus said, pulling into traffic. Claire blinked. Talking. Signing. Constantly. Asking when you'd arrive. If you'd really come back. Marcus glanced at the mirror. Mr. Moretti said she slept through the night for the first time in 8 months. 1 visit. 1 promise. And a little girl had slept peacefully. Marcus drove north, where houses became mansions. They turned onto a private drive through manicured grounds. The house rose into view. Stone and tall windows, surrounded by gardens. A fountain near the entrance. Welcome to the real world, Marcus said. Downtown is business. This is home. The foyer had marble floors and a chandelier casting rainbow prisms. Classical music played softly. Fresh flowers sat in crystal vases. Miss Morgan? Isabella appeared. Lily has been watching the door since breakfast. Where is she? Sunroom. Follow me. They walked through magazine-perfect rooms. Then at the back, a sunroom with glass walls overlooking autumn gardens. Lily sat on a window seat, Hope in her lap, staring at the driveway. She wore a yellow dress, blonde hair in 2 braids. When she heard footsteps, she turned. Her face lit up like sunrise. She ran across the sunroom. Claire barely set down the peonies before Lily crashed into her, arms wrapping around her waist. "Hey, sweetheart," Claire whispered. "I told you I'd come back." Lily pulled back, looking up with shining eyes. She made a gesture, 2 hands at her heart, pushing outward. "Thank you." "You're welcome." Claire knelt with the peonies. "I brought your favorites." Lily's hands flew to her mouth, pure delight. She touched the petals carefully, then signed something elaborate. "She says they're the most beautiful flowers she's ever seen," Isabella translated. "She says you remembered, and remembering is the most important thing." Of course I remembered. I always keep my promises. Vincent appeared, dressed casually in dark jeans and a gray sweater. When he saw Lily hugging Claire, his expression softened. "Good morning, Claire." "Morning, Vincent. I'll leave you two to it." He looked at Lily. "Behave." The first hour passed like minutes. Claire and Lily sat on the floor, surrounded by flowers. Claire taught Lily how to arrange them in a vase, talking through each step. Lily watched intently, mimicking movements. When they finished, Lily clapped silently, smiling wide. "You're a natural," Claire said. Lily pointed to herself, then made a question gesture. "Could you work at a flower shop someday?" Claire guessed. Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Absolutely. When you're older, I'll teach you everything. Deal?" Lily held out her pinky. Claire linked hers with it. The oldest promise, renewed. The second hour, Claire pulled out a children's book about a garden that grew at night. Lily curled against Claire's side as she read, thumb occasionally finding her mouth. Halfway through, Lily's hand crept up to touch Claire's face, fingers tracing her cheek like memorizing it. Claire kept reading, giving space to explore trust. "The end," Claire said. "Did you like it?" Lily nodded, then made a scribbling gesture. "You want to draw?" Isabella appeared with paper and colored pencils. Lily spread out on the floor, lost in creation, tongue poking out in concentration. 20 minutes later, Lily held up her drawing. 3 figures. A tall woman with brown hair holding flowers. A small girl with blonde hair holding a rabbit. And between them, translucent and faint, another woman with blonde hair and a glowing smile, touching both. Claire understood. "That's your mom, isn't it?" Lily nodded, expression serious. "You think she brought us together?" Another nod, more certain. "Maybe she did," Claire said softly. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. She launched herself at Claire, and her body shook with silent sobs. Not sad crying, relieved crying. "It's okay," Claire murmured. "Let it out. I've got you." Vincent appeared in the doorway, eyes widening when he saw Lily crying. He stepped forward, but Claire shook her head slightly. Release, not intervention. He understood. He stayed in the doorway, hand pressed to his chest. After a few minutes, Lily's crying subsided. She pulled back, embarrassed. Claire smoothed her hair. "Crying is like rain for flowers. It helps things grow. So whenever you need to cry, you cry, okay?" Lily considered this, then nodded. She gestured at her eyes, then at Claire's. "Have I cried?" Claire translated. Lily nodded. "So many times, especially after my mom died." Claire pulled Lily closer. "Crying doesn't mean you're weak. It means you loved someone so much that losing them changed your shape. That's not weakness. That's proof of love." Vincent made a choked sound. He turned away, shoulders tight. He walked out, but Claire saw him swipe at his face. By noon, they'd arranged flowers, read stories, drawn pictures, played silent charades. Lily's laugh was soundless but full-bodied, transforming her face. Marcus knocked. Time, Claire. Lily's face fell. She grabbed Claire's hand, shaking her head frantically. I know, sweetheart. But I'll be back Thursday. 2 days. Claire held up 2 fingers. And I want you to practice something. Lily tilted her head, curious. Try talking to Hope. Claire gestured to the rabbit. Not out loud if you're not ready, but in your head. Tell her about your day. Practice putting words to things. Can you do that? Lily thought, then nodded slowly. Good girl. Claire hugged her. I'm so proud of you. Vincent walked them to the door. In the foyer, he stopped Claire with a gentle hand on her arm. Thank you, he said, voice rough. I've hired the best professionals. None got her to cry. None got her to smile like that. I'm just being present, Claire said. No agenda, just showing up and caring. That's everything. Vincent's gray eyes held hers. My wife used to say the same thing. That presence was the greatest gift. Claire felt heat in her cheeks. She's easy to care about. So are you. Vincent said it simply, then seemed to realize the implication. He cleared his throat. I mean, Lily has good instincts. If she trusts you, you're trustworthy. I won't break that trust. I know. He walked her to the SUV. Same time Thursday? I'll be here. The drive back felt longer. Claire replayed every moment. Her phone buzzed. Vincent, thank you for today. Lily ate a full lunch for the first time in weeks. Claire typed, she's making a difference in my life too. Response, I'm glad. See you Thursday. Claire smiled. Marcus watched in the mirror, a knowing look on his face. What? She asked. Nothing, Marcus said, almost smiling. Just thinking this arrangement is working out better than expected. What's that supposed to mean? Means you're good for both of them, the girl and her father. Marcus pulled up to her building. Don't overthink it. Just keep being you. Thursday was 2 days away. She could hardly wait. 8 weeks passed in a rhythm Claire had never expected. Tuesday and Thursday mornings became the anchors of her week. Lily was progressing in ways that made Isabella cry happy tears. The little girl still didn't speak aloud, but she communicated constantly through signs Claire was learning, through drawings covering the sunroom walls, through touches that came more freely now. But Thursday of the 8th week, everything changed. Claire noticed the tension immediately. Marcus's jaw was tighter than usual, his eyes constantly checking mirrors. He took a different route, one that wound through less familiar streets. Everything okay? Claire asked. Fine, Marcus said, but his hand rested near his hip, near the gun. The estate had more security than usual. 3 additional SUVs, men in dark suits patrolling. One spoke into a radio as they approached. Package secure. Package. They meant Lily. Vincent met them at the door, looking exhausted. His gray eyes were cold, harder than she'd seen them. This wasn't the vulnerable father. This was someone dangerous. Claire, he said, voice clipped. We need to talk before you see Lily. They went to his office. Dark wood, leather furniture, walls lined with books, but also photos. Lily as a baby, Victoria holding newborn Lily, Vincent and Victoria on their wedding day. Vincent closed the door. There's been a situation. Claire's stomach dropped. What kind? The kind where a rival family has decided to test my boundaries. Vincent's hands curled into fists. They've been watching the house, watching people who come and go, including you. The room tilted. They know about me? They know you visit twice weekly. They know Lily responds to you. They know you're not family, not security, which makes you vulnerable. Vincent's jaw clenched. 3 days ago, they approached Mrs. Huang at your flower shop, asked questions about you. Claire's blood turned to ice. Mrs. Huang. Is she okay? She's fine. Told them nothing. But Claire, they're gathering intelligence. And when people like this gather intelligence, it's because they're planning something. What do they want? Leverage, control. To prove they can reach what matters to me. Vincent walked to the window. I've dealt with the immediate threat. Made it clear that touching you would have consequences. But threats only work when people fear consequences more than they want power. Are you saying I shouldn't come anymore? The words hurt. Not seeing Lily felt like losing something precious. I'm saying you need to decide if this is worth the risk. I can't guarantee your safety outside these walls. Vincent turned. I won't blame you if you walk away. Claire thought about Lily, about her smile, about how she'd drawn a picture of 3 people holding hands. What family is it? Claire asked. The Valentis. They've been trying to expand into territory I control. This is their latest move. Vincent's expression darkened. They're dangerous, Claire. They don't follow the same codes. They hurt people to make points. Does Lily know? She knows something's wrong. She's been asking for you constantly. Vincent's voice softened. She drew you a picture. A garden with flowers spelling your name. She's been carrying it since Tuesday. That decided it. I'm not leaving, Claire said firmly. I'm not abandoning her because someone wants to use me as a pawn. Lily has lost too much already. She's finally healing, and I won't be another person who disappears. Vincent studied her. Then something shifted. Respect. You're either very brave or very stubborn. Both. All right. Then you stop going to your apartment. Marcus will move you to a secure location today. You'll stay there until this is resolved. My job? I'll talk to Mrs. Huang. She'll understand. Vincent pulled out his phone. You'll have 2 security personnel at all times. You don't go anywhere alone. No social media, nothing that can be traced. Claire's normal life was evaporating. But when she thought about Lily's face, it was worth it. Okay, she said. One more thing. Vincent's voice dropped. If something happens, Marcus has instructions to prioritize your safety over everything, including me. Vincent, I'm serious. Lily can't lose another person she loves. So you listen to Marcus, you follow protocol, and you survive. That's the deal. Another person she loves. The words hung between them. Now go see Lily before she stages a rebellion, Vincent said, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. And thank you for not running. Claire walked to the sunroom on shaking legs. Isabella opened the door. Thank God. Lily sat on the window seat. Hope clutched tightly, tears streaming down her face. When she saw Claire, she launched herself across the room. Hey, baby, I'm here, Claire said, catching her, dropping to her knees. I'm right here. Lily sobbed silently against Claire's shoulder. Claire held her tightly, rocking. After several minutes, Lily pulled back. Her eyes were red and swollen. She signed frantically. She's asking if you're leaving forever, Isabella translated. If the bad people are taking you away. No, sweetheart. Nobody's taking me away. I promise. Lily shook her head, signing more emphatically. She says promises can break. Her mom promised to come back and didn't. Claire cupped Lily's face. Your mom didn't break her promise on purpose. Bad people hurt her, but I'm being careful. Your dad has people protecting me, and I will fight to keep coming back to you. I promise. Lily stared at her, searching. Then, slowly, she nodded. She pulled out a folded paper, smoothing it. The drawing showed a garden. Each flower was a letter, spelling Claire. At the bottom, please don't go. Claire's vision blurred. I won't, baby. They spent the next hour closer than usual. Lily wouldn't let go of Claire's hand. They read 3 books. Lily pressed against Claire's side the entire time. An hour in, Marcus appeared in the doorway, his expression urgent. He gestured sharply. Now. Claire's pulse spiked. Vincent appeared behind Marcus, his face carved from stone. Everyone stay calm, Vincent said quietly, but his hand moved to his gun. What's happening? Claire asked, pulling Lily closer. Perimeter breach, Marcus said. 2 vehicles, approaching fast. Vincent moved quickly. Isabella, take them to the safe room, now. No, Claire said. We're not leaving you. This isn't a discussion. Vincent's voice was iron. Marcus, with them. Sir, that's an order. Vincent looked at Claire, and his mask slipped. She saw fear, not for himself. For them. Keep my daughter safe, please. Then he was gone. Marcus grabbed Claire's arm. Come on. Isabella scooped up Lily. They moved through the house quickly to a door that looked like a closet. Marcus punched a code, revealing stairs. The safe room was reinforced walls, security monitors, enough supplies to last weeks. Marcus locked the door, multiple bolts sliding into place. "What's happening?" Claire demanded. Marcus checked monitors. On screen, Vincent stood at the entrance with 6 security personnel. 2 black cars in the driveway. Men getting out. 5 of them. Armed. Valentis, Marcus muttered. Making a move. Lily whimpered. Claire pulled her close, covering her eyes. "Don't look, sweetheart." On the monitor, the men faced off. Vincent and the Valenti leader stood 5 feet apart, talking. Then the Valenti leader pulled out a photo. Held it up. Vincent looked at it, and even from the grainy feed, Claire saw his expression change. Saw the rage. "What is it?" Claire whispered. Marcus's face went pale. "It's you. They have surveillance photos of you." The leader pointed at the photo, then toward the house. Then he made a gesture, fingers across his throat. Vincent moved so fast the camera almost missed it. His fist connected with the Valenti leader's jaw, sending him sprawling. The situation exploded. Gunfire erupted on the monitors. Claire's scream caught in her throat as she pressed Lily's face into her shoulder, blocking her view. The little girl was shaking violently, silent sobs racking her body. This was her nightmare coming back. "Marcus, what's happening?" Claire demanded. Marcus's jaw was set, eyes fixed on monitors. "Vincent's security is engaging. The Valentis brought 5 men. They're outnumbered. This isn't an attack. It's a message. What kind of message involves guns? The kind that says we can reach you." But they miscalculated. On screen, Vincent moved like someone trained for combat. One Valenti raised his weapon, and Vincent disarmed him in 3 moves. The weapon clattered across the driveway. Claire couldn't look away. This was the man who read bedtime stories, who'd cried when Lily laughed. And he was also this. The Valenti leader scrambled backward, shouting. Vincent's security surrounded them. Weapons drawn, but not firing. Vincent pulled out his phone, made a call. 30 seconds later, 3 more SUVs arrived. Official looking. "Police?" Claire asked. "Something like that," Marcus said. "Vincent has connections. This ends legally." The Valentis just committed armed trespass with witnesses and video evidence. The Valenti men were being handcuffed, loaded into vehicles. Vincent stood still, arms crossed, watching with cold satisfaction. 10 minutes later, the driveway was clear. Vincent looked up at one camera, directly at it. Then he headed toward the house. Marcus's radio crackled. "All clear. Bringing civilians up." Lily was still clinging to Claire, trembling. "Baby, it's okay. You're safe." But Lily had heard those words before. They walked back upstairs, emerging into the foyer where Vincent waited. He'd removed his jacket. White shirt disheveled. A cut on his cheekbone bleeding. But he was alive. Lily saw him and made a sound. Not a word, but a sound. A broken, terrified noise. Vincent crossed the space and took his daughter, holding her tight. Lily buried her face in his neck, small hands fisting in his shirt. "I've got you," Vincent murmured. "I've got you, baby girl." Claire stood awkwardly, her arms empty. Marcus steadied her. Vincent looked at her over Lily's head, his gray eyes devastated. "I'm sorry. You shouldn't have had to see that. Is it over?" Claire's voice was barely a whisper. "The immediate threat is handled. Their leadership is going to prison. Their organization will fracture." Vincent's jaw clenched. "But Claire, this is what my life looks like. I can't promise it won't happen again." Claire understood. An out. She looked at Lily, still clinging to her father. Then she walked forward and placed her hand on Lily's back. "I'm not going anywhere," Claire said firmly. "Do you hear me, Lily? I'm staying. Bad people tried to scare us and they failed. We're family, and family doesn't run." Lily turned her head slightly, one blue eye visible. She reached out with one hand, grasping Claire's fingers. "You don't have to do this," Vincent said. "Yes, I do." Claire met his eyes. "Because 8 weeks ago, a little girl trusted me at a cemetery, and I promised I wouldn't let her down. This isn't the life you signed up for. I signed up to help Lily heal. Everything else is just details." Vincent studied Claire. Then he shifted Lily and extended his free hand. Then we do this right. No more secrets. Full transparency. Claire took his hand. Okay, I need you to move into the guest house. Here, on the grounds. Secure, close to Lily. No negotiation. Claire opened her mouth, then closed it. For how long? Until the threat is eliminated. Could be weeks, could be months. Vincent's voice softened. They had photos of you. I can't protect you if you're exposed. What about the shop? I've arranged additional security there. Plainclothes. Okay, Claire said. But I'm still working 3 days a week. Lily needs to see that I choose to come back. Vincent nodded. 3 days, with security. Check in every hour. Deal. Lily made another sound. Almost like a word. Her lips were moving, trying to form something. It's okay, baby, Vincent said gently. Stay. The word was barely audible, rough from disuse. But it was there. Stay. Claire's knees nearly buckled. Lily had spoken, after 2 years of silence. Oh, sweetheart, Claire whispered, tears streaming. Yes, I'm staying. I promise. Promise, Lily repeated, stronger now. She looked at her father, then Claire. Family. Vincent's face crumpled. He pressed his forehead against Lily's. Yes, baby. Family. Isabella was crying. Marcus had turned away. This was the breakthrough they'd waited for. Claire reached out and pulled both Vincent and Lily into a hug. They stood there, 3 people holding each other together. After a long moment, Vincent pulled back, wiping his eyes. Marcus, get Claire's things. I want her moved into the guest house by tonight. Already on it. And get Dr. Reeves here. Actually, Claire said, maybe let her rest first. She just spoke for the first time in 2 years. Let that be the focus. Vincent nodded. You're right. Dr. Reeves tomorrow. Today we celebrate. Celebrate, Lily whispered, testing the word. Then she smiled. Celebrate. The next hours passed in strange normalcy. Vincent's team swept the grounds. Additional cameras were installed. But inside, Claire and Lily drew pictures while Isabella made hot chocolate. By evening, Claire's belongings had been moved to the guest house, a cottage at the edge of the property. Bedroom, bathroom, small kitchen, living area, windows overlooking roses. Marcus showed her security features. Panic button. Reinforced locks. Direct line to the main house. You're as safe here as anywhere. That night, after Lily had gone to bed still whispering, Stay, stay, Vincent walked Claire to the guest house. Thank you, he said at her door, for not leaving. I see Lily, Claire said simply. Everything else is just the world trying to get in the way. My wife used to say something similar. That love was choosing someone despite the chaos. Vincent's voice was rough. Claire, you're not just here for Lily anymore. You're part of this family now. Family. Thank you, Claire whispered. Vincent nodded and turned to go, then paused. She said your name tonight. Claire stays. Claire family. Claire safe. You've given her back her voice. And she's given me back something too. Purpose. Connection. Claire smiled. We saved each other. Vincent's expression softened. Then he was gone. Claire entered the guest house and sat on the couch. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Isabella. Lily wants to call you. Can we video chat for bedtime story? Claire typed. Always. The video call connected. Lily's face appeared, tucked into bed. Hope beside her. In a voice still rough but growing stronger, she said, Story time, please. Of course, sweetheart, Claire said, grabbing the book. Once upon a time, in a garden that grew at night. As she read, she saw Vincent enter the frame, sitting on Lily's bed, listening too. Their eyes met through the screen. They'd survived the attack. They'd survived the threat. And they'd come out stronger. This was family now. Complicated, dangerous, unconventional, but real. And Claire wasn't going anywhere. 3 months later, the November air carried the same crisp cold as the morning Claire first saw Lily at the cemetery. But everything else had changed. Claire stood in the guest house, now decorated with her own touches. Photos of flowers on the walls. Books stacked on tables. It wasn't temporary anymore. It was home. Her phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Huang. Big order came in. Peonies. Guess who I thought of? Claire smiled. She still worked at Petal and Stem 3 days a week, with security so discreet she sometimes forgot they were there. The shop was thriving now, funded by an anonymous investor. Today was Wednesday, cemetery day. But this time, she wouldn't go alone. A knock announced Vincent's arrival. He stood there in jeans and a dark sweater, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. "Ready?" he asked. "Almost. Where's Lily?" "Getting her shoes on. She's been talking about this all morning." Vincent's smile was genuine. "She wants to bring the lilies." Lily had started speaking regularly 6 weeks ago. Short sentences at first, then longer ones. She still had nightmares sometimes, but she was getting better. Lily appeared moments later, running down the path. Her blonde hair was longer now, pulled into a ponytail. She wore pink pants, a white sweater, and carried white lilies carefully. "Claire!" she called out, her voice clear. "Look, I picked them myself." Claire knelt down, pulling Lily into a hug. "They're perfect, sweetheart." "Do you think she can see us?" Lily asked seriously. "When we visit?" Claire looked at Vincent, who'd gone very still. "I think," Claire said carefully, "that love doesn't end just because someone isn't here anymore. So, yes, I think somehow she knows." Lily considered this, then nodded. "Okay, then let's go." They took Vincent's car. Marcus drove, and another security vehicle followed at a distance, but it felt almost normal. Almost like a family. Oakwood Memorial Cemetery looked the same. The oak trees were bare, branches stark against gray sky. They walked together, Lily between Claire and Vincent, holding both their hands. Marcus stayed by the entrance. When they reached Victoria's grave, Claire's breath caught. The headstone was the same, but the ground around it was different. Someone had planted flowers. A small garden with late-blooming chrysanthemums and winter pansies. "I had it done," Vincent said quietly. "This place needed life." Claire squeezed his hand. Lily knelt down, placing her lilies at the base of the headstone. Then she sat back, Hope the rabbit in her lap, and started talking. "Hi, Mama. It's me, Lily. I brought Claire and Daddy. We come together now every Wednesday." Her small voice carried. "I can talk again, Mama. Claire helped me find my words." Claire's eyes burned. Vincent's hand tightened around hers. "I still miss you," Lily continued. "Every single day. But I'm not as sad anymore. Because Claire told me that your love didn't leave." Lily touched her chest. "Right here, all the time." Vincent made a choked sound. "And Mama, I think you sent Claire to us. Because you knew we needed her." Lily looked up at Claire. "She brings flowers. She reads stories. She makes Daddy smile again. She's not replacing you. Nobody could. But she makes the sad less heavy." Claire couldn't hold back tears. "I drew you a picture," Lily continued, pulling out folded paper. She placed it at the grave. "It's our family. You're still in it, Mama. But now Claire's in it too. And I think that's what you wanted." The drawing showed 4 figures. Victoria, translucent and glowing, standing behind 3 solid figures. Vincent, Lily, and Claire, holding hands. Above them, family. Vincent dropped to his knees beside his daughter, pulling her into his arms. His shoulders shook as he cried. Lily held him tightly, patting his back. "It's okay, Daddy," Lily murmured. "Mama wants us to be happy too." Claire knelt beside them, wrapping her arms around both. They stayed like that, 3 people holding each other together. Finally, Vincent pulled back, wiping his eyes. "I'm sorry. Don't apologize," Claire said firmly. Vincent looked at her. "Victoria would have loved you, for who you are, for the way you make both of us feel less alone." "I'm not alone anymore either," Claire said softly. "You gave me a family when I had none." Lily looked between them, smiled, then deliberately walked to the car where Marcus waited. "She's not subtle," Vincent said. "She's 6. Claire stood. Vincent stood with her. They were alone now at Victoria's grave. "Claire," Vincent started, "these 3 months have been the best since Victoria died. Not because the grief is gone, but because you've shown me that there's room for new happiness without betraying old love." Claire's heart hammered. You've become essential. To Lily, yes. But also to me. Vincent took her hand. I'm asking if you'll stay. Officially. Permanently. As part of this family. Claire looked at the grave. At Victoria's name. She did send me to you, Claire said quietly. That morning at the cemetery. It was Victoria making sure you wouldn't be alone. She looked at Vincent. And somewhere along the way, I stopped caring because I was supposed to. I started caring because I couldn't help it. Is that a yes? Yes, I'm staying. Yes, I'm family. Yes, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Claire smiled through tears. Vincent pulled her into a hug, and Claire felt something settle in her chest. This was home. When they pulled apart, Lily was watching from the car, hope raised in triumph. They walked back together, Vincent's arm around Claire's shoulders. The florist who'd brought roses to a stranger's grave had found more than she'd expected. She'd found purpose, connection, a little girl who needed her, and a man who'd learned to open his heart again. She'd found family. That evening, they had dinner together. A real family dinner with Isabella's cooking, and Lily's chatter, and Vincent's laughter. You know what tomorrow is? Lily asked. Thursday? But it's also special. Lily looked at her father. Daddy and I talked, and we want to know if you'll come to the cemetery with us on special days too, like Mama's birthday and holidays. I would be honored. And, Lily added, we're planting a rose garden at the grave, white roses, because you bring them every week. A rose garden, Claire repeated, looking at Vincent. It's being installed next week, he confirmed. White roses, year-round blooming. It'll be the most beautiful plot in Oakwood Memorial. Because Mama deserves beautiful things, Lily said. And because you taught me that flowers are how we show love, even when they're not here anymore. Claire pulled Lily into her lap. You're so smart, baby girl. And I'm so lucky I get to be part of your life. We're lucky too, Lily said. Right, Daddy. So lucky. Vincent agreed. The luckiest. That night, as Claire walked back to the guest house, she looked up at the stars and whispered, Thank you, Victoria, for trusting me with them. The wind picked up, rustling through the rose garden, and Claire chose to believe it was Victoria's way of saying, I know you will. 3 months ago, Claire had been a lonely florist, barely making rent. Now she had a home, a family, and a purpose. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness led to the biggest transformations, and sometimes the people we set out to help ended up saving us instead. Claire entered her home, warm and safe and loved, and knew she was exactly where she belonged.